Дыхание снова снимует. Оп. Дыхание снова снимует. Hi guys. Well, hi. Hello, one person who's here. I am still setting up my TikTok, so YouTube today is first. Thank you for being here so fast. I really appreciate it. I love how my YouTube loves to notify me that I'm live. I'm like, I know, I'm the one who's doing this, you know? So it's pretty funny. Why is this thing not working? That's so odd. Gosh. This thing is dead. Hello, hi Jason. I am very not well prepared for my what's its thing? My tripod basically. I use a gimbal as my my gimbal as my tripod, and it's dead. And so it's being very weird right now because it doesn't want to work. And that's really annoying. So I'm trying to figure out if it's just something wrong with it or it's just really dead. So let's see. Wait. Come on. What's going on? That's so weird. I have a couple of videos prepared for today. I'm still trying to figure out how to what the heck? I'm still trying to figure out the upload of the YouTube video to so for those of you who are on Patreon, I'm still trying to figure out the upload of the video about culture shocks because it's at this point been 24 hours and it's stuck at 50% upload and I don't know what to do about it. Seems like I can't fix it by any means, so it's not really great. I don't understand what's going on though. This is so weird. I'm gonna go into the DJI app and see if that helps. For some reason, my gimbal isn't working, and that's not great because it's pretty. Yeah, it wouldn't be me. Hi, Tammy. It wouldn't be me if I did not have technological difficulties, right? It'd be odd if it was me and there were no technological difficulties whatsoever. Yeah, it looks like my gimbal is broken. Wow. And it's new, too. It's less than a month old. That's so odd. Okay. Hello? No? Do you not want to do that? That's so weird. I don't understand. I'm still trying to figure it out. Okay, so let me demonstrate. I have this gimbal. It's a DJI gimbal, right? And normally, if I press this button, it straightens my phone out. And the thing is, it's a pretty expensive piece of equipment. So I'm not sure. See? And normally, if I press the button, it straightens out. And so I don't know why it's acting that way. Because normally, no matter how dead it is, it still does it. And it's just really not cool because, again, It's not a cheap thing. It should be working properly. It's so freaking weird. What the heck? I don't understand. You know what, fine, I'm just gonna have it charged for a little bit, but like if it's broken, then that's cool. That's hi Jen, that's gonna need to be brought back to Amazon, and that's going to be changed because that's not how technology of that range should work, I guess. Okay, well, without further ado, how are you guys doing? How's your day? How is everything with you? I'm gonna press live on TikTok. Hopefully this thing is gonna, I don't know, figure itself out and start working, because if it doesn't, then I'm gonna be very, very upset. And I'm gonna be very upset at DJI or DJI. Hi Jillian. Hi everyone. You did not miss much. I've been just trying to figure out my gimbal that doesn't want to work, which is not great. Hi Skylar. Hi friend. Hi Make It. Thank you so much. Hi Juju. Hi Carlos. Hi everyone. We have a bit of a we have a bit of a different angle on TikTok today because, well, my gimbal for some reason is not working. Oh, I did a new thing with my water today. Hi Christine. Wait, yeah, it is Christine, right? Because Christine. Yes, I did eat today. Thank you, Carlos. I ate ravioli or tortellini. I don't remember which one. I ate something. Honestly, I'm trying to fix my sleep schedule, and it's really difficult. And so parts of my day are kind of out because my memory is not doing as well as it would if I was having a human sleep schedule. So, hi, Shell and Cookies. Hi, Shell. So we do have 111 updates today. I also have an update. Well, an update rather about the store. So the Spy Gear store, the Yewleea.com, where you can get hoodies and pants and stuff like that, I have updated with sizing. The only thing that has very random sizing is the tracksuit, because it is manufactured and shipped from Lithuania. And so its original sizing is in centimeters. And when they converted it to inches, it's very odd. It's like 34 and 3/4, like 58 and 5/8. It's really strange. But I have updated the entire website with everything. All of the clothing items now have size guides underneath them, and most of them are manufactured in the USA and shipped from the USA, which is nice. And I think they do have one of the things that here. So some of these things are manufactured in Europe and some of them are manufactured in the US, but they ship both from Europe and the US depending on where you are located. Yeah, but it's yesterday when I was like filling out the size guide and I was going over this tracksuit and the sizing for it, I was like, what are these sizes? Why are they 5/8 and 3/4 and stuff like that? And then I realized that their original sizing is in centimeters, and they just converted it. So yeah, so it's really funny. I some of them I just rounded up, and I was just like, okay, this is just that. I'm a KGB agent. Okay, wait, this troll, before you yeet it. So there is a troll on TikTok and it says, don't listen to this lady. She's a KGB agent. So first of all, if I were a KGB agent, I'd be preaching Russia. Because KGB, like, do you mean SBU? Because SBU is the Ukrainian secret service. Because if you are saying that I am spreading misinformation in favor of my country, then I would be an SBU agent. which, to be fair, I'm not, and I don't think they're getting paid enough. So like, I wouldn't work for them. Now, the CIA, I would take their offer. MI6, I would take their offer. Hell, I would take the offer from Mossad. But unfortunately, none of these companies or government structures have figured out how amazing I am yet. So they have not given me the offer. But yes, I cannot be a KGB agent, you stupid troll, because I would be preaching Russia if I was. And I'm talking about Ukraine. So really nowhere near that. And but yeah, thank you for the insult. Gosh, KGB agents, as you might have noticed, are doing their job really badly because they literally do not even know what condition their army is in or what condition Ukrainian army is in. So, so no, that is insulting because if you think that my information is so bad that I sound to you like a KGB agent, that is an insult I take personally. FSB counterintelligence. FSB is also Russia. СБУ is Ukrainian, Служба безпеки України. But yes, I am not an SBU agent. However, hey, I am available if you want to hire me. СБУ веде. Веде, чуваки. Я з радістю прийму роботу. You're trying to make it look like I'm pro-Ukrainian? I'm sorry. Are you insane? So basically, I'm trying to make it look like I'm pro-Ukrainian with this lovely document that says that I'm a Ukrainian citizen, right? Right? So I'm trying to make it look like I'm pro-Ukrainian. Again, I'm a tiny bit confused here. So I'm trying to make it look like I'm pro-Ukrainian while condemning Russia consistently, giving you real information on Ukrainian history that is that you know what? Sure. No, the trolls have arrived, but I'm also getting like the brain dead trolls today. One of them accused me of being a KGB agent. Another one is accusing me of trying to sound pro-Ukrainian, and I don't even know where to go with that. I mean, yes, I am sounding pro-Ukrainian because I am pro-Ukrainian. I am also Ukrainian, literally. So it's not like, I can't be not pro-Ukrainian because I'm literally Ukrainian. That's the fun aspect of that. And I wonder how trying to sound pro-Ukrainian would benefit me. If I was trying to serve a purpose to Russia, then if I was trying to serve some sort of purpose to Russia, or if I was trying to help Russia in any sort of way while sounding pro-Ukrainian, I wonder what kind of service have I provided to them. I consistently shit on Russia because that's just history and politics. Like, it's impossible not to. So I wonder how that's really benefiting them. But sure, yeah, okay. I mean, this is also, this lovely document I have over here is also just I printed it. It's Staples, yeah. I also have another one just in case somebody thinks it's fake. I have my old one that's expired, and this one's actually expiring soon, and I should do something about it. Yeah, Cindy has a Ukrainian passport. My dog has a Ukrainian passport. Like, what freaking KGB agent? Like, you think I went as far as giving my dog a Ukrainian freaking passport to seem pro-Ukrainian? Yeah, trolls are much more stupidly, because I feel like they're not really getting paid much, and they're probably like demotivated at this point. I think they're as demoralized as the Russian military is, and yeah, and that's just it. But also, somebody said you're a super spy, and the thing that came to my head is like, I'm an international super spy. So yeah. Do you think that Yanukovych is a war criminal? Yes, I do think that Yanukovych is a war criminal. He's completely complicit, and he's completely complicit in everything that happened in Ukraine, and he has given Russia access to Ukraine. He has orchestrated it in a way. Yes, he's a war criminal. He is not just a war criminal. He's one of the worst war criminals ever. Then, oh yeah, so one of the things that I was saying is speaking just like random updates. The spy store now has size measurements, size guides, and stuff like that, so you can look up your sizes in inches before you decide to purchase something, which a lot of you were asking for. They're now in inches, so hopefully that helps. An international super spy, yeah. A fascist Antifa once. Oh my god. Does he still have asylum in Russia? So I don't think he had asylum in Russia. He just like fled to Russia because he's Putin's puppet. Like, does he still live in Russia? Yes. Also, just like a little pointer, I'm not Yewleea. I'm Yulia. Like, that's just a phonetic. It's all one word. And I feel like a lot of people lately have been thinking that my name is either you or Leah, and I'm Yulia. Hi from Ukraine. Привіт, привіт! Привіт, привіт, Україна. Привіт, земляче. That one always makes me chuckle. I love that. Like, I've graduated from not being Ukrainian enough. Героям слава. From not being Ukrainian enough and being American from CIA to being a Ukrainian spy to being a KGB agent at this point. I'm just like, wow. I mean, yeah, that's seems very, very reasonable and logical. I love it. Yeah, I think we're having Troll Tuesdays. I do prefer Taco Tuesdays, but can't choose. Apparently, you can't pick and choose these days. Troll Tuesdays it is. Thank you for showering them with sunflowers. We have a couple of Ukrainians here, and the tradition that we have у Львові. Я прожила у Львові до 17 років. And the tradition that we have acquired or borrowed from John Aravosis is to shower Ukrainians in the chat with sunflowers because it's nice. Will Natalia be back again? Yes, we are working on, I don't know if she's going to be back again this particular weekend, but oh crap, I forgot to. See, I forgot to do something. I totally forgot to do something, and I need to, Oi, oi, oi. I don't know if Natalia is going to be back this weekend, but she's definitely going to be back. Maybe next weekend or during the week or something. I just know that not every weekend works for her. But if she is available this weekend, then I'm going to know tomorrow and I'm going to let you guys know. I am going to start giving you a little more notice for these historian lives because, well, I definitely should be giving you more notice for these historian lives. Let me just write something down in my planner book because I haven't been using it lately. So here's a little sneak peek on what's happening with my life. I haven't been sleeping very well during the first 3 months of the war, but there was a reason for why I wasn't. There is a reason for why I wasn't. What am I saying? Yeah, there was a reason for why I wasn't sleeping very well because I was very nervous. I couldn't fall asleep. I was waiting for my dad to wake up every like night and stuff like that, and I wasn't doing very hot. But then now in this environment, it's not necessarily about the fact that I'm nervous. It's just that my sleep schedule is so screwed that I can't fall asleep till 5 in the morning. And so I end up working really late because I'm basically living in Ukrainian time right now, which shouldn't be happening because I live in the States and I can't live on Ukrainian time. And because I basically tend to pass out during the day and my sleep schedule is so all over the place. My memory is awful. It's so awful because I'm like half functioning, and that's what I'm trying to tackle here. So I need to text Anastasia from Irvine. I might have a guest speaker from UC Irvine talking about their initiative of lawyers that are trying to provide a political parole to Ukrainians, and they're going to be talking about that. So that's one of the things. Sorry, I'm just going to write down the things that I remember off the top of my head. And today is also like a really gloomy day. So it's kind of hard to function to begin with. I'm not doing very well. Yeah. So the UC Irvine situation is, there is this girl, her name is Anastasia, and she's one of the volunteer lawyers who are doing a program under this one professor. And basically, it's a team of lawyers and students and law students who are providing pro bono legal advice and immigration legal advice and help to Ukrainians who are trying to come to the United States on the parole in order to flee the war. And so the thing that's happening is a lot of people are want to help Ukrainian people and want to take in Ukrainian people, but then they don't realize that that you have to sponsor them and provide a lot of financial information and stuff like that. It's basically like sponsoring a spouse. And so a lot of people back out. And so she wanted to do kind of like an information session to tell people what it takes to actually sponsor a refugee. So maybe they would have more people who are willing and less people who are backing out last minute. So that's what we're going to be talking about. And hopefully, if Natalia can do it on Saturday, then I'm going to try and do that panel on Saturday instead. And then I have some other ideas that I am, and there are some other ideas that I'm working on. So stay tuned. I'm still uploading. When I say that this video has been uploading to YouTube since literally yesterday, I genuinely mean it, because look, it's still buffering. Yeah, sponsorship is a very big responsibility, and not a lot of people realize it. So it's important to, see, the UK did it a little better than the US did. The US is not paying anybody to take in Ukrainian refugees. The US is basically telling people that they have to prove that they're able to take care of Ukrainian refugees and stuff like that, and people only find out about all of these extra steps that they need to do after they had agreed, and so they back out. Yeah, a lot of families need sponsorship. I'm doing well. How are you? I don't think you have to have money on reserve. I think you just have to prove a certain income. I think you just have to make, the way it is with a spouse, right, is you have to make $5,000 over your state's poverty line. So it's about the same, I think, with refugees. But again, I think Anastasia will be able to answer more of your questions. It's good to hear that you're doing good. I'm so happy to hear that. Sorry, my glasses were so dirty. I realized I really need to clean them because I'm not really seeing very well. Yeah, income and housing availability. No, Pavel Chernovoy is not from Ukraine. He is Russian. He's American, but Russian roots. How's your family in Ukraine? They're doing well. I was talking to my dad today. He is doing okay. Also, you guys who follow Vasil, yesterday a lot of you were asking me how he is doing and if I have heard from him. Yes, he's doing okay. He's just taking some time to figure some things out. And I spoke to him today for like over an hour. We FaceTimed. He is doing well. He's fine. Don't worry about Vasil. He just is like, he's just figuring some life things out, you know? What is my opinion on NATO? It's kind of controversial because I understand why NATO is not stepping in as much as they should be, but also I think that at this point, Ukraine has concentration camps made out of cities that are basically controlled and occupied by Russia, and people are living in epidemics of cholera and dysentery and crazy conditions that are similar to those of World War II, and NATO just allows it. Slava Ukraini. So I think NATO is, yeah, NATO is bloated and definitely too political. Hi, Sammy. We were told there was some kind of bond, but we love to hear from Anastasia. Yeah. So there is. I will let you. I will let you know. I will. I will set up that. I will set up the live with Anastasia because she's in the U.S., so it can be at any point during the week in the evening, but it doesn't have to be on Saturday at 2 p.m. Yeah, NATO really needs to step up, is what I think. NATO at this point is just really like acting out of convenience because they just don't want to over complicate the situation, or they don't want to, or they just don't want to, I don't know, trouble themselves at this point, because at this point everybody knows that Russia is not capable of doing anything that they are threatening they are doing. Oh, finally. Oh my gosh. Or not. Oh, let me see. Still not. Oh my gosh. Okay, yay. So my tripod wasn't working, and or rather my gimbal wasn't working, and so I was trying to see if it was just because it wasn't charged, and it looks like that's exactly what it was. So that's good. So yeah, I think that NATO needs to step up, and I think that NATO at this point NATO is just like lazy, because there is clearly, it's not that Ukraine is just asking for help because we want help, it's because NATO is allowing people to live in concentration camp in epidemics of disease. And we were asking for fighter jets not because it'd be easier for us to win the war, but we could deblockade Mariupol, and now people are legitimately living in a concentration camp there under Russian occupation. And NATO is just screaming like war crimes, war crimes. Like, yeah, you can prevent these war crimes from happening in the first place. You can save lives, and you're not doing that. And then see, that's what I was saying. Is like, because of my sleep schedule, I feel like I'm so not on the same like sharpness level as I usually am, because I keep thinking about things that I want to say and then I forget them right away. I wanted to talk a little bit about Ukrainian politicians that are really, really pissing me off lately. Really, really. So you guys have heard about Arestovich, right? You have heard about him quite plenty. You know that Zina Solo despises him. Arestovich has said a bunch of really, 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 really crazy things. Arestovich is like a war analyst in Ukraine. He's like this guy who loves these philosophical, psychological talks. And he was saying that the war is going to last 2 weeks. Then he was saying it was going to be until June or July. Then he's saying it's going to be a year. And like, honestly, every normal Ukrainian that I know absolutely despises him. Like, I was trying to show my dad something today that Arestovich was saying, because I was like, this is stupid. And my dad was like, I don't want to listen to this dude. I don't want to listen to this guy. And he's like, I genuinely cannot hear his voice. So Arestovich is this guy who consistently keeps using Russian language, although he's the advisor to the president, right? He's one of the advisors to like the presidential office. He keeps consistently insisting on using Russian language and like trying to justify his right to use Russian language, which is just like, yeah, sure, you can, but like, why would you while we're fighting for our independence from Russia? Like, what? And he has said a couple of very troubling things. One of the troubling things was that he said that Ukrainian culture is small. Country is big, culture is small, and we need Russians in our small culture. And that we shouldn't isolate Russians because no country in the history of their existence was able to live in isolation from their neighbors. Arestovich is an issue. He's a very large issue. And then recently he said that LGBTQIA plus people are people with mental deviations. And he doesn't believe that they should be prosecuted, but that they are people with mental deviations. And this is the thing, like we are working towards Europe and towards becoming European Union in Ukraine, right? So we can't have people like Arestovich say the stuff that he's saying on air, like representing Ukraine as an advisor to the presidential office, because that's not what we stand for. Yeah, like thanks for not, yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, so you don't think that they should be you don't think that LGBTQIA people should be prosecuted. And like I say they because I'm a cis straight woman, and while I just like I don't, as in like what is it, like I genuinely don't understand how in the society in 2020 in 2022 we have to prove to people that human rights are rights. And I understand, like, here's the thing. The problem with Ukraine is that, like, our laws are actually pretty progressive, but a lot of our people aren't. Like, yesterday, Ukraine voted for Istanbul Convention, and we ratified it, right? Yulia, the lovely Ukrainian politician who was running against Yanukovych in that monumental election, she came out and said that they are against the Istanbul Convention. So the Istanbul Convention is the convention for the rights of women to report abuse. And it basically makes it much easier to prosecute domestic violence. But it also brings up gender, which is one of the first steps on the way to LGBTQIA rights, on the way to like broaden LGBTQIA rights. And so all of these old school Russian inspired politicians who were in bed with Putin all along, but now pretend like they love Ukraine and they're patriotic, like Yulia Tymoshenko, are coming out and they're like, oh no, just so you know, it's not about the rights of women. It's not about domestic violence. It's about gay Europe. And it's like, I would love Ukraine to be in the gay Europe, okay? I would love Ukraine to be as gay as Europe. I would love for people, frankly, like Yulia Tymoshenko and people who say stuff like that to not exist in Ukraine. I would love for that to be frowned upon, not human rights. And the issue and the problem of frowning upon human rights is created by people like Yulia Tymoshenko and like Arestovich and people who say stuff like that who are in high post positions. And I'm so happy that most Ukrainians really want to be a part of Europe. And even if they're forced, they're still going to stand up to European standards and implementing European standards because they want to be a part of Europe. And then future generations are going to be growing up with European standards, and they're actually going to be growing up in an environment where this is now not forced, but it's how they think. And so I wish that it was like that people understood it more, but I'm so happy that we now have to change all of our change so many different laws and so many different outlooks in order to be accepted to Europe. Because some people are going to do it even if they don't believe in it. But then their kids are going to grow up in an environment where this is real world, and they're thankfully going to be like normal, like normal people who look at these things like normal people. So I'm very happy about that. I wish that it was, I wish that there weren't people like Tymoshenko and like Arestovich and like other people who were like, yes, it's a deviation. Um, yeah, exactly. And Ukraine is going to be held to higher standards. So I was worried, that. Oh, actually, so I asked my dad what it takes to own a gun in Ukraine because my dad owns a weapon. He owns a rifle and he owns a pistol. Uh, I asked my dad what the rules are like and how difficult slash easy was it for him to purchase a weapon. He purchased it in the 90s. It's been a very long time. And what are the laws of storage and how, like, what is the upkeep, like what kind of things you're supposed to do. I don't think it's too strict. What the things are supposed to do. It's first of all, the law. What do you think about the 2019 Ukrainian language law? Isn't it too strict? No, it's not, because the only way that we can push Russian culture out of Ukraine, unfortunately, is if we overwhelm it with Ukrainian culture, and it's Ukraine. Like, why would it be too strict to demand every channel to have, if they speak Russian or any other language, to have a publication of the same capacity in Ukrainian? We live in Ukraine, and our culture has been literally like pushed out by Russification. So unfortunately, in order for our culture to survive, we now have to, like, overinflate our culture. It's not too strict. In fact, it's not strict enough. Like, what? You're talking to, like, people who were attempt Russia attempted to colonize us unsuccessfully and keeps attempting to colonize us, keeps attempting to Russify us, and keeps attempting to, like, take away our culture. And it's so funny to me when people are saying, like, oh, you're repressing Russians, you're not letting them speak this, you're not letting them have their own channels. Like, no, it would be so if Ukraine for no reason decided to do that. But Ukrainian culture was dying out, and we have to do something to preserve it until Russia completely takes it over. Soon you will become a Russian citizen, crying, laughing face. Before you yeet this person, hi, troll, good to see you. I will never become a Russian citizen over my dead body, but you will soon become a persona non grata solely because of your passport. If you don't know what a persona non grata is, take 5 rubles out of your salary, take 5 minutes and Google that. But point is that you live in a dumpster fire that nobody wants to do business with. So yeah, good luck with that. I'm happy that you're humorous about it. That's a very good outlook on life, especially when you're unemployed and your country is going down the drain. But you keep at it. Yeah, Russia also, like, Russian culture can be unrepressed and like, exactly. It's like, when Ukrainian people come to the US, we assimilate into the United States. We don't demand for our culture to be the base of the country, right? It's like, okay, you want to live a Ukrainian way, you want to be Ukrainian, you want to have Ukrainian traditions, and you want to have it part of your, like, culture in your country, then live in Ukraine, right? And it's like okay to be Ukrainian while you're in a different country. It's okay to love your traditions like I do. It's okay to love your language, your culture, and stuff like that, but you can't impose it onto another country. You gotta assimilate. That's what it is. And it's great for you to follow your traditions and do them on your own time with your friends who also want to do that, but, like, you can't impose them on other people. So stop imposing Russia on us and its absence of culture. Like, sorry, no, like, Russian culture literally means looting and theft and, like, and lies. And I no, I don't want that in Ukraine. Nobody does. But so, back to what I was saying. Do you want to know what, according to my dad, gun ownership and gun storage laws are like in Ukraine, and basically what my dad's opinion is on loosening gun rights in Ukraine? Because I think it would be very interesting. Hi everybody. I'm guessing Arvos's life ended. Life. Oh no, I hope it didn't. I really love John. but I really hope that but hi everybody. I really hope that Arvosis is good. I did see some of his live and I see that it ended. But so I'm going to tell you a little bit about what it takes. Дякую, Yuliana. I will tell you a little bit of what it takes to own a gun in Ukraine and why it's completely different than it is in the United States. First of all, my dad purchased a weapon in the 90s. Before he was able to purchase a weapon, he had to take courses on weapon handling, and he had to get licensed. Then he had to go to a special store and get checked from top to bottom of everything, of his records and everything like that, before they were able to even allow him to purchase a weapon. Now, after he had purchased, well, not after, but during the process of him being able to purchase a weapon, he had to go and get a mental check to make sure that he is mentally apt to own a weapon. He had to register his weapon with the government, and the government knows that he owns this weapon. Now then he had to buy the ammo that he's planning to use with this weapon, and then he had to go and shoot that ammo for the government to know the type of ammo that his guns are using. And you can't have any more ammo than the ammo that you showed the government. It's illegal. So if you just decide to go buy bullets that are not the same, я не можу говорити українською, тому що я розмовляю тут з іноземцями на каналі. Цей канал зроблений для іноземців. Я можу відповісти українською, але я не можу вести свою програму українською мовою. So basically, like, the government knows which bullets you're using, and you have to go through that same process every 3 years. So every 3 years, my dad has to go through a mental wellness check. Every 3 years, my dad has to buy rounds of ammunition that he's planning on using for the next 3 years. And he, тоді до побачення. Я не знаю, що я можу сказати. Every 3 years, my dad has to go and shoot his ammo to show the government what ammo he owns. So the storage laws are so that your weapons have to be concealed and hidden in your apartment. If you don't do that, basically, like, every 3 years you have to do this check. If you're like a week late, you have a gigantic fine. If you're 2 weeks late, you have an even more gigantic fine. If you, like, I don't know what the time frame is, but basically, like, if you're late 3 times or something like that, they take away your license, and you're going to be arrested. So or if you don't surrender your weapons and you don't have your wellness check, you don't have, like, your footprint, whatever, then, like, they're literally going to arrest you. So yeah, the laws are very strict in Ukraine for owning a weapon. And I asked my dad point blank, because he is a weapon owner, I was like, do you want the laws to be looser? Do you want people to just be able to go buy guns? And do you think that a gun storage should be easier in Ukraine, and gun purchases should be easier in Ukraine, and more civilians should have guns? And he said, absolutely fucking no. I would rather give up my gun than have more civilians own them. He's like, I'm not adamant about owning a gun. I've had it since the 90s because there was a situation that called for it, right? Like, but at the same time, he was like, no, like, it's going to become chaos. He's like, what? First of all, in a country that's traumatized by war, no. Second of all, in a country that's like, no. Like, it should be stricter, if anything. He's like, it's fine if it's strict, because, like, that's the thing. It's a big responsibility to have a gun, and you should be really, 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 really ready to have it. And you should really know what you're doing with it. So my dad's opinion on guns as a gun owner is that gun laws in Ukraine and gun laws in general should be strict. He said, like, he's in Ukraine, he's not in the US, and no, he would not bring the gun with him to the US. First of all, my dad is not adamant about keeping his guns. If the government said that civilians shouldn't carry guns, my dad would be like, okay, that's fine, because my dad understands that it's a gigantic responsibility to have a weapon. And it's a gigantic responsibility to have a weapon in your house. And my dad doesn't want more people to freely go and get weapons. Heroyam Slava. And he has no issue with giving up his weapons. That's the difference between Ukraine and the US. People in Ukraine are not gun obsessed. I'm not in Illinois. It doesn't matter what state I'm in. So yeah, so that's an opinion of a gun owner in Ukraine on guns. He said, no, it's going to be chaos. And my dad said, yeah, I don't want to I don't want Ukraine to become the next United States, and we would have mass shootings and we would have crazy stuff happening if like every Ivan had a gun. He was like, no, the reason why we have all of these laws is because we want to prevent stuff like that. And the reason why it's hard to get guns in Ukraine is so that stuff doesn't happen. And so only people that are actually responsible enough to go through all of that crap keep their guns. Like my dad performs a mental health check every 3 years. My dad has never been late on doing his licensing and confirming his mental health and shooting his ammo and stuff like that to give government all of this stuff. But he's like, yeah, if they were to say that like civilians shouldn't have guns tomorrow, and they were just like, all right, well, the laws are changing now, it's only trained military personnel, he'd be like, sure. Because he's like, at the end of the day, I don't need it. It's something that's nice to have because I can, right? Because I'm licensed, because I've had it for so many years. But at the end of the day, I don't need it. It's not a necessity. So yeah. So that's on guns in Ukraine. And also I looked it up, and Europe requires basically gun laws to be even stricter than gun laws in Ukraine already are, so nobody's going to loosen them. My dad is in Lviv, yes, so he is so far safe. Sure, you can have it even if you don't need it, but that's the thing, that it should be strict. Gun responsibility should be a big thing. Gun responsibility should be a big thing. And the laws around guns should be strict. So not everyone can have a gun, because every single person, because we never know. And that's like the thing. You can't just have one mental health check, because your mental health is malleable. It's fluid. One day you can be okay, and another day you can be not okay. So, anyways, hi to all of the Ukrainians that are here. Чому не залишатися в Україні, працювати, сплачувати податки, волонтерити, захищати країну? Так, я, до речі, насправді також не розумію, тому що я не можу наразі виїхати з Сполучених Штатів. Я чекаю на свій дозвіл на подорожі. Як тільки він у мене буде, я поїду до Львова волонтерити, тому що I feel bad that I can't. So, unless you have a very, very valid reason, as to why you want to leave Ukraine, I don't know why. Россия сила, да, Россия такая сила, что вам нужно использовать эту силу, чтобы построить себе туалеты и дороги, да, Россия такая офигенная сила, что вы даже не можете построить себе нормальные дороги. Сила, блин. И Ахмат тоже сила, который держит свое государство вот так, понимаешь, потому что никто его не любит. Well, not a butter. I really appreciate you wanting to email me some gun research, but the thing is, like, it's not about research. I literally, like, I don't think that civilians should have guns. I don't think gun is a necessity. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much research there is. I don't think weapons are necessary. I don't think weapons are necessary for civilians. I grew up in Europe, and there is no gun culture in Europe. Nobody has like this obsession with guns in Europe as they do in the United States. Neither do they in Ukraine. And for me, it's excessive. It's excessive, and I just don't think that. I don't think people. Europe is not as obsessed with hunting or weapons as the United States is. It's a very different culture. Like, it's so different. It's like something very, 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 very different. And as a European person, I just it doesn't matter how much. Thank you. It doesn't matter how much research I see I don't necessarily care, because at the end of the day, fundamentally, I don't think that civilians should own weapons. And I don't care what the argument is, because for me it's redundant, and it's just like, it's upsetting. I don't know why we have to show research to prove that, like, there is this about guns and that about guns, when in my mind, I come from a place where there aren't as many mass shootings as in the United States. There isn't as much crime rate, and there aren't as many like armed robberies and stuff like that, because, well, the access to guns is really limited, and civilians do not believe that it's their God-given right to own a gun. Nobody wants a gun. Like, one of the things, one of the things that uh, I was one of the things that I was like saying, it's like, in Europe, if you own a gun, it's weird. Like, if I came to a European guy's apartment and he was like, and he was like had 18 guns, I would think he's a psychopath. Like, I would report him. Because in Europe, it's weird for you to just own a gun for no reason. In the US, it's very common. In Europe, it is literally weird. And also, I don't think you can have a gun. I don't think you can have 18 guns. Because, like, in the US, some people own literally like 20. Like, if somebody owned 20 guns in Europe and I found out about that, I'd be like, just give me a second. And I would literally call the authorities. So that's like very different. Okay, мы в стадии активной войны. Мы в стадии активной войны, активного военного нападения. It is a very different thing. So yeah, so it's a super different topic. And it's funny to me that people like hear my opinion on guns and they're like, okay, bye. I don't even want to hear you anymore. Okay, bye. Like, I'm not going to follow you for Ukraine anymore because you don't like guns. Like, what? So my opinion on guns somehow invalidates the information that I give about Ukraine? So it's just so strange. And also, like, the fact that people in America get so butthurt about guns and people not liking guns. Oh my gosh. Wow, Jason. But yeah, it's just kind of like crazy, because especially how mad people get when you tell them you don't like guns, and that you don't like, and that where you grew up, it's like you would be considered a psychopath for owning so many guns. I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying that it's a very, very, very different culture. And like, if somebody did own that many weapons in any European nation, they would be reported to the authorities because it's weird. Like, people in America say that they're uncomfortable living in a house without a gun because they're uncomfortable, right? My mom, when my dad moved out and they got a divorce, my dad moved out and he asked for some time to get his belongings. My dad's guns that are registered to him were in my mom's apartment. She called him and she was like, I give you 3 days to take it out of my apartment. I'm not comfortable living with a gun in my house. I am not comfortable living with a gun in my house. People are not comfortable living with weapons in their houses. And that's the difference between the mentality between the United States and between Ukraine and Europe. People are not comfortable. And I mean Ukraine before the full-scale invasion, because that really shifted everybody's everything. But that's the difference. In Europe, it's I'm not comfortable living with a gun. In the US, it's I'm not comfortable living without one. And the only reason that happens is because of how loose gun laws are and how much gun violence there is. And people think that they're going to fight guns with more guns. So yeah. Okay, but do you understand that? Do you understand? Someone is saying, imagine if they did have more guns to protect themselves now. We are in a full scale armed invasion. Nobody's invading America. Nobody is going to invade the United States. Russia was always going to invade Ukraine. There was always this thing. And also, yes, I understand. Like, okay, we as a whole nation, Ukrainians, are war traumatized people. Up until 2014, up until the full scale invasion where Russian soldiers were going rogue and literally like looting and raping in mass numbers and were killing people and doing all of these things, nobody was even talking about guns. And in Ukraine, no civilians wanted to have guns or had guns before this happened. But Ukraine and Russia is very different. Yes, we were shocked. Yes, most of the people were shocked that they invaded after all. But Russia has always been doing crazy stuff to us. Nobody is invading United States. And no, civilians in Ukraine didn't just have guns. Like, again, our gun laws are really strict, and the gun owners want them to be strict. It's the people who don't own guns who want them to be looser. Anyways, I'm not even going to argue about it because a lot of people, for some reason, like I was talking to Tommy yesterday, my dude, and I was kind of like, he said something and he was like, note how yeah, you're Ukrainian in the United States and you're okay with guns. That's cool. Exactly. But that's the issue, that I don't know why you as a Ukrainian do not see a difference between a Ukrainian person owning a gun under a full-scale invasion and Russian threat, and a difference between owning a gun and having full gun access in a country where mass shootings are happening every day. I don't know how you as a Ukrainian do not see a difference between culture in Ukraine where guns are not, where we're not gun obsessed, and where guns are not considered a livelihood necessity given to you by God. I don't see how you don't have a difference. I consistently keep speaking to Ukrainian people who keep talking about yeah, people have the right to have them here, and they shouldn't have the right to just go and buy a gun in a supermarket. That's the whole point. Where like I consistently keep hearing from Ukrainian people who are like traumatized by war and scared, and they keep giving me these reasonings why in the United States people should have a gun, because they're just talking out of this yeah, no, but a gun should be a right, because you're scared. But these are two different countries. Yes, Shields is a supermarket. You can buy a gun in a supermarket. Shields is a supermarket. There is a gun aisle in front of like baby aisle. Like you can buy a stroller and then you can literally turn around and you can buy a gun. Like I've seen it. I've been there. Yeah, some Ukrainians now are. But that's also the thing where like Ukrainians start arguing me on gun laws in America, and I'm like, okay, that's different because you're not taking into account differences between culture, differences between government, differences between politics. Like in Ukraine, our government controls you having a gun, and that's fine, right? In America, the government has nothing to do with your guns, and Americans don't want the government to know anything about your guns. Yeah, but see, in Ukraine, you can go and you can get. Here's the thing: you can't make gun control be effective in Ukraine. Привет, привет. You can't make gun control be effective in United States until you have a healthcare reform. Because in order for you to be able to have those mental health checks, they need to be mandated by the government, and they need to be accessible to everybody. You need to have gun ranges where you can shoot your ammo and show people and show your government what you have, like what ammo belongs to you. So if you go and kill somebody, they know it's your bullet that did that, and they can easily find you. That's why the government needs to know everything about your weapons. And as I said before a million times, there needs to be mental health and health reform, because health services should be accessible to everybody. Yes, before every Ukrainian person comes at me and says like, "Oh, but Ukrainian healthcare is crappy." Yes, but we have it. And at the end of the day, if you are sick or if anything, you can go and you can get government healthcare. If you don't like it, if you have money to afford something better, then you can go to a private clinic. But as any citizen, you could go and you can get a mental health check. You can get a yearly checkup. You can get everything. But in America, you can't because it's expensive. And getting like, first of all, signing up for a therapist who could give you a mental health wellness check is like you have to do a session with them first, an onboarding session, which is like $300 to $500 that most insurances don't cover. And then you have to do that, which costs God knows how much. So you can't mandate that. You can't mandate mental health checks if you can't provide them. So yeah, we do have to have a healthcare reform before gun control can be effective. And unfortunately, there have to be so many reforms before that could be effective that we have to yeah, exactly. And people misinterpret Second Amendment all the time. Bye, Vandella. Thank you so much. Basically, basically, we have to have a lot more reforms before that can even work. And so, unfortunately, in the meanwhile, if we want to stop gun violence, guns need to be forbidden. And when people stop like being obsessed with guns, and when we have healthcare access, and when we have access to basic necessities as people, as residents, as citizens, then we can start talking about gun control and well-regulated guns. Oh, thank you so much for stopping by. Okay. Thank you, Andy. Okay, it's just, see, like, the difference is gun owners here are like, I want to have my guns. If you say that you don't like guns, people like yell at you. People are mad at you. People hate you. They're like, you're wrong. What do you mean? They start like attacking you in a way, right? Because it's like, it's a right, it's an amendment. Like, I said I don't like guns. I don't want guns to be part of the civilian lives. Like, oh my gosh, can I have an opinion? Please give me a break. In Ukraine, gun owners don't do that. In Europe, gun owners don't do that. That's the difference, is like there is an obsession with guns in America. And anywhere where there is an unhealthy obsession with something, that something should not be the central pivotal point of their life. That's my opinion. Hi, Lucy. Yeah, there is an illegal gun market everywhere that nobody can ever stop. So what? Just we should give them even easier access for that too. Like, criminals break laws. Should we get rid of laws because criminals are still going to break laws? Yeah, in countries with good economic conditions, there isn't an obsession with guns because people care about other things. It only takes one bullet. Yeah, and also people saying like we need guns against tyrannical government. Dude, a tyrannical government is going to send missiles, tanks, and like incredible military against you if they're a tyrannical government. They're going to control you militarily. Your guns are not going to do anything. Anything. Nothing. Not going to help you in any way. Yes, you have been trained in the military, right? That's different than just a civilian. Yes, it is, because criminals can go and buy a literal gun in the store. So that's what I'm trying to say, is that like people love to say like, oh, criminals are going to still keep getting guns. Like, sure. So just because you can't prevent criminals from getting guns, you want to keep the access super open. That's like the thing that, yes, sure. If a criminal really wants to get a gun, they will get one, but they're gonna have to go through number of things in order to even find it on the black market. And in between them deciding to buy a gun, and between them locating that gun on the black market and them purchasing it and then them taking that gun and doing something wrong with it, somebody can find out and somebody can prevent them. It's a longer time span, you know that, right? But between a criminal walking into Shields, walking out with a gun and going and shooting up a high school, there is a large difference. And it's just like, it blows my mind that people are so obsessed with guns that they're like not willing to give them up. It's a crazy, like, why do you care so much? Yeah, right. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Sure, of course, just because I don't like guns and I don't agree with them, I automatically have no idea what I'm talking about. That's the funniest thing, is that every single time I say something that actually, and I give my opinion and I validate it and I like, hi Yum, hi, good to see you. And I bring in facts and I say a lot of like reasoning of why, of why I give you laws, I give you like context, I give you everything. You're just like, you don't know what you're talking about. Okay, well, give me context. Give me reasons, except for the Second Amendment. Give me like, talk to me, like give me something. But you're not giving me anything except for it's a right. It's a right. No, the fact is that people are saying, people are trying to put to compare Ukraine to the United States, and the fact is, not an opinion, that those are two different political climates. What do you mean it's the disturbed people? But all of us are not disturbed people until we are. Like, my mental health was completely fine 7 years ago or 8 years ago. And then about 5 years ago, it wasn't. Mental health is malleable. Mental health is not a steady stream. You can be fine one day and then tomorrow something can trigger you. Something can go off and you can completely change, because that's what mental health is. It's malleable. And one of the things is that you can, yeah, Ukraine is not something that you can just put as an example for owning guns. Ukraine is under full scale like army invasion. Ukraine is in a full scale war. And you're also taking opinions of Ukrainians and you're like, "Oh, these people agree with me. These people live in a war zone." Every single person who lives in Ukraine right now has trauma. Every single person is scared. They live in a war zone. You can't use Ukrainian people as an example. And I'm Ukrainian and I'm talking about my once the population is disarmed, the elite take control. Well, in Ukraine, most people are disarmed. In Italy, most people are disarmed. In Germany, most people are disarmed. In France, most people are disarmed. In Australia, most people are disarmed. In Norway, in the Netherlands. Here, 85% of gun crimes that occur up here in Canada, obrigada, are committed with weapons legally obtained in the USA and smuggled into Canada illegally. Americans need to defend ourselves from who? From who? From who? From who? Okay. Americans need guns to defend themselves. From who? Themselves? From other Americans with guns? Oh, hi, Maris. Like, do you want to defend yourselves from Canadians that are going to come in and overtake? They're not. Do you want to defend yourself from Mexicans who want to come in and overtake? They're not. You want to defend yourself from tyrannical government? You're not going to be able to with guns. Tyrannical government has tanks and military trained personnel. What? Oh, government. Yes, people are saying from the government. You do realize that you're not going to be able to defend yourself from tyrannical government with your rifle, right? Like, you do get that, right? Привет. Like, what? Oh, sure. Sure. They do have families, yet still it's an order, and tyrannical government is exactly what gives out the order, and the way that government becomes tyrannical is when they execute their they abuse the power, and one of the abuses of power includes military. And tyrannical government usually uses fascism, where they, you know how Hitler worked, where he recruited a whole army that believed that Jews were bad. It doesn't matter if American soldiers are going to have American families. If they're going to be under the tyrannical government, they're going to be believing the fascism that the tyrannical government is giving them, and they're not going to give a crap because they're going to be part of the tyrannical ideology. You guys like argue stuff that you have no idea about. You're literally using nothing for your arguments. Yeah, dude. If they're part of the do you understand that the Nazi soldiers, were shooting their own Germans, their families, their friends, whatever, if they were going against the Nazi regime? Because it's fascist ideology. It's a cult. You're brainwashed to be in it. You believe the ideology. You're going to do whatever the ideology tells you. So, yes. If you think that you're going to have a tyrannical government, and then you have a military member who's part of the tyrannical government who's your cousin, and he's not going to do anything if you go against the government, you must be very, very, very uneducated about how tyranny works. Oh, you don't believe it here in America? Why? Are Americans somehow different than the rest of the world in terms of how fascism affects them? How are Americans different? Oh yeah, really? Because you had a president called Donald Trump that literally was a cult. And I don't even mean like don't like come for me saying that like, oh my gosh, like whatever, you Democrat, you this. It's not about that. But the thing is that like the man would do anything, and you would stand up for him and you would defend him. Everything that he did, you defended it. Every like Trump supporters, you defended every single thing that he did. Good, bad, whatever. You found reasoning. That's a cult. You are so obsessed with this president and are still today that you're going to defend him for anything. Дякую. So that's the thing. That's how it works. It's already working. What do you mean? You think that tyrannical government is not professional enough to know how to sway you and how to manipulate you? Here is the thing. It doesn't matter if Trudeau is a good leader. It doesn't matter if Zelensky is a good leader. It doesn't matter if anybody who's not in America is a good leader for an American citizen, because you're in America. Okay? And here is the thing. Like, also, people who are pro-democracy, people who have democratic values, people who have democratic opinions, people who understand how democracy works, they don't blindly follow their leader. It's like, here's the thing. People who voted for Trump would literally, again, defend every single thing he did, wrong or not wrong, like every single thing, because they voted for him. He could do no wrong for his voters. People who voted for Biden don't fucking like Biden. They just didn't want Trump. Like, I don't blindly follow my leaders. I criticize them. I criticize what I don't like. That's how democracy works. I can easily say that Biden did this wrong or that Obama did that wrong. I'm not going to stand here and try to justify things that I don't like about what they're doing. That's how you keep democracy. You give healthy criticism to your leaders. You keep them accountable. You keep them responsible. Because at the end of the day, it's not you who's supposed to blindly follow a leader. It's the leader who's supposed to represent you. That's not a way to vote. Normally, that's not how people vote. But in this situation, anything was better than Trump because Trump is a fascist. Do I love Biden? No. Was Biden for me a better candidature than Trump was? Yes, 100%. Do I want Biden to be president? No, I don't want Trump. I don't want Biden. I don't want anyone who has literally been in the roster. I would love to have somebody much better in power, but there is no better option at the moment, or there wasn't in that election, that could have won and prevented the disaster that would have been Trump the second term. It's not about not liking Trump and therefore. Dude, do you understand that the gas prices are not, first of all, gas prices are oh, first of all, gas prices, okay? You don't understand how politics and how economy works, right? The state of the economy is usually given to the president by the previous administration because the economy changes in 4 years. So whatever the economy was like under Trump in the beginning, at least the first 2 years, was literally the direct cause of Obama. Because that's how it works. It doesn't happen today. It takes time. Like, God, people, if you're uneducated about politics, if you don't know what you're talking about, like, please stop talking. Because it's just so upsetting. Because, like, I'm happy to have a debate with you, right? But you need to actually understand how politics works to have a debate. The first 2 years of economy under Trump were the direct consequence of Obama and his administration. The first 2 years of economy under Biden are literally the direct consequence of Trump and his administration. And if you want to know how politics works before you talk about stuff like that, figure it out first and then come here and argue, because you're arguing literally like, thanks for gas prices. You do understand that that's not how it works. You think Trump for gas prices, you think crisis for gas prices, you think so many things for gas prices. Stop blaming Biden. I don't even like Biden. But the thing is, like, it's not how it works. It's not like Biden just went and screwed it up and overnight everything went bad. That's not how these major things work. They take time to get to that place. And by time, I don't mean 2 weeks, not 2 days. Like, what? Yeah, you thank Trump and the fact that he was in cahoots with Russia so much and that he was kissing Putin's ass. You thank him. Why? Yeah, exactly. If you have an idiot for a president, that's what happens. Thank you. You're right. That was Trump. You put that idiot in there and now you're complaining. Like, what? Yes, I agree with you. If you have an idiot for a president, that's exactly what happens. Thank you for blocking him. But that's just like, I mean, hey, this is the funny thing is, like, people say this stupid stuff, but they don't know what they're talking about. It's like you can't have a political debate with someone and then be upset that they are literally putting you in your place if you don't know anything about politics. If you're going to say something stupid, of course I'm going to call you out on it. Because what? I mean, I'm fine. Thank you. I don't need deep breaths. It's just more of like, Yes, of course it's more complicated, but like this is just giving you a general picture that no, the state of the economy is not Slava Ukraini. The state of the economy is not like it very largely depends on the previous administration. And that's why it's better to have 8 years, because then you can actually show what you and your administration can do. Cancel culture, why do you block people? Well, because it's my space and I can choose to. It's not cancel culture, it's just that if like you won't stop and you keep saying stupid things that and if you keep saying stupid things that make no sense and you can't back it and you're just yelling an argument out that makes no sense, like then oh well, like you're gonna get blocked because I just don't want to see you here. Jeez. It's like, if you come to my house and I don't want you to be in my house anymore, I'm gonna tell you to leave. Like, what do you mean? I am going to move on when I feel like I want to move on, because at the end of the day, if I want to talk about something, then I'm going to talk about something for as long as I want to talk about it. And like if you don't want to listen to it, you're welcome not to. I'm not like making you do it, but at the same time, like I really don't appreciate when people tell me when to move on and when not to move on, because it's not like that's rude. That just mean you're basically telling me like, oh, please shut up. Like, okay, well, I'm sorry that you don't want to hear it, but you don't have to. Okay, let me turn on some lights. Let me use the bathroom, and then I'm gonna play Доброго вечора ми з України, and we're gonna dive into the news. Oh wow, an hour and 30 minutes. Yes, we definitely do need to dive into the news because that was a long one. Ні, я не фанат Байдена. Harry Potter mother. I mean, no, don't get me wrong, я ненавиджу Трампа, я демократ, але просто Байден не найкраща опція, це просто була єдина опція. Harry Potter mother. Yes, thank you. I do love Harry Potter. I do love my glasses. And if you think that offends me, I feel sorry for you. I chose those glasses. I think they're cool, and I do love Harry Potter. I'm a Slytherin Ravenclaw, by the way. Or rather, I was first sorted into Ravenclaw, and then 7 years later, I was sorted into Slytherin. So, oh, through our revoses. Awesome, Robin. Thank you. For all of those who don't know, I also do have YouTube, and YouTube is running, and I am doing streams both on YouTube and on TikTok. And on Saturdays, we have lives with a historian on YouTube. So if you don't follow me on YouTube yet, please consider following me. It's the same, Yulia, Ukrainian American Spy channel, and it doesn't matter what's up with the meanies. Honestly, like it's their own issue. I take that as their own insecurity, and they don't influence me in any way. But yes. So if you would like to follow me on YouTube link is on my profile. У меня есть YouTube, и я на нем разговариваю про украинскую историю, и каждую субботу у меня есть украинский историк, который рассказывает українську історію, і я перевожу это на англійський язик. Знаєте, влаштувати ту революцію, щоб прийти до влади, Байден – це гидко. Яку революцію? Байден не влаштовував революцію, щоб прийти до влади. Байден не влаштовував революцію, Трамп влаштовував insurrection, щоб залишитися при владі. Трамп – це є гидко, Байден – це не є гидко. Байден реально балотувався лише для того, щоб Трамп не став президентом знову, тому що Трамп – фашист. І якщо ви не підтримуєте Росію, якщо ви підтримуєте Україну в війні, то ви маєте розуміти, що таке фашизм і чому це було dangerous. Okay, I need to go turn on the lights. I need to go use the bathroom. Please follow my YouTube. Це не Байден влаштував. Яка заворушка з чорношкірими? Це були протести за human rights, за людські права. Це не була Байден заворушка, what? Це є російська пропаганда з російською фігньою, яка підтримувала це все і Трампа, і тому розповсюджувала цю інформацію всюди в Україні і в Росії, тому ви в таке вірите. Але це є робота російської пропаганди, це не була заворушка. Ой, не будьте наївними, також не будьте наївними. Yes, I do. I do want it out. Thank you. I don't even think it's Ukrainian. I think it's translating it into Ukrainian. Katya, I want the Yeah, thank you. Okay, I'll be back in 1 second. You guys, oh, Cindy is far away, so I can't show Cindy. But I will be back in a second. Sinunya, what's up? You look sad. Hey, babes. Okay. Alrighty. Are you ready for the news? Also, I'm gonna try something. Let me put on the headphones and see if you hear better when I have headphones on. Just let me know. Well, because I just needed to turn on the light, basically. Because it's really dark in here. Do you hear, is this better? No, I didn't play the song yet, but is this better in terms of sound? Do you guys hear it better? I need to get a headset, honestly. I still haven't even looked into it. I didn't have the time. It's the same. Okay, so it's not. All right, so it's fine. Okay. Our news intro song. This one's such a long intro.
Доброго вечора, ми з України.
Okay, now let's dive into the news. A referendum in Kherson region becoming part of Russia is planned to be held this fall. Kirill Strimousov, the so-called deputy head of the military civil administration of the region, said, "We should remind you that so far, almost the entire Kherson region has been temporarily occupied by Russia. Our troops continue to liberate the region's population centers." Earlier, Deputy Prime Minister Irina Vereshchuk asked residents of the Kherson region to leave the occupied territory by any means. In particular, Ukrainians can use the issued Russian military passports and cross the border through Crimea. According to her, this will make it easier for the Ukrainian army to deoccupy, as Russian troops can use civilians as human shields. Yeah. Russian troops have stepped up operations to block the Bakhmut-Lysychansk highway. Other findings from the U.S. war experts. Russia is trying to use the blockade of Ukrainian grain exports to persuade the West to ease sanctions. Russian propaganda will try to justify the slow and unsuccessful advance towards Slavyansk from southeast of Izum and west of Liman. Invaders are trying to prevent Ukrainian troops from advancing north of Kharkiv towards the border. Russian troops continue defensive operations in the southern direction. The activity of Ukrainian partisans continues to complicate the efforts of the Russian occupation. Authorities to consolidate control over the occupied territories. Operational information as of 6 a.m. on the 21st regarding the Russian invasion. 118th day of the heroic opposition of the Ukrainian nation to the Russian military invasion begun. The situation in the Volhynian and Polisa areas is without significant changes. In Avdiivka, Russian invaders shelled a school with MLRS shells with magnesium charges. This is already the third school destroyed by the Russians in Avdiivka. In total, the invaders destroyed about 200 schools in the Donetsk region, said Pavlo Korolenko, head of the Donetsk RMA. And here are some photos and video. Микола, чому ти не спиш? В Україні ж дуже пізно. В якому місці? Тобто, що таке чекає на тривогу? Ой, що таке чекає на тривогу? Тобто вас повідомили, що буде тривога? This is Donetsk. The U.S. State Department confirmed the death of the second American during the full-scale Russian The U.S. State Department confirmed the death of the second American during the full-scale Russian invasion of Ukraine. He was 52-year-old Steven Zabelsky. He died on May 15th when he exploded in a mine near Severodonetsk. According to Tristan Nettles, a Marine veteran who was with Zabelsky the night he died, the deceased belonged to a squad of Western volunteers attached to the Ukrainian army called the Wolverines. It was a group of English-speaking men, 1 Pole, 1 Canadian, 2 British, and 8 Americans, all of whom had military experience. They were sent on a mission to defuse enemy mines in order to create a safe path for their unit to attack, along with the equipment planned for next morning. Because of the dense vegetation and fog, Stephen apparently activated a tripwire that activated the mine, which killed him and seriously wounded Gary, Nettles said. Unfortunately. 568 people, including 38 children, remain at Azot, the head of the Luhansk army, Serhiy Haidai. As of the morning of June 21st, Russians attacked from different directions in the areas of Kamyshevacha, Zolote, and Gorny. They shelled Luhansk. The number of casualties is being established. At least 1 person was unalived and 1 more wounded. More than 10 multi-story buildings, private houses, and a police department building were destroyed. The storm near Sirotino is contained. Serious destruction in Gorne, 13 houses damaged. In Novo Ivanivtsi, 7. In Vrubivka, the Lyceum was destroyed. Russians hit the building of the first entrance hall of Azot, shelled the territory of the brick factory, and alternately opened fire near 3 bridges. The enemy launched airstrikes against Ustynivka, Malorezantsev, Bologorivka, and Gorne. Fighting continues near Mykolaiivka. The Russian army assault near Bilahora and Sirotine is inconclusive. 50% of the wounded invaders do not subsequently survive. The editor-in-chief of the Russian newspaper Novaya Gazeta sold his Nobel Peace Prize medal for a record of $103.5 million. Dmitry Muratov received the Nobel Peace Prize in 2021. On June 1st, 2022, he opened bidding to sell the medal and donate all proceeds to UNICEF to help Ukrainian refugee children. This should be the start of a flash mob as a role model for people to sell their prized possessions to help Ukrainians, Muratov said. It is known that 175 grams of gold contained in Muratov's medal, when melted down, will be worth about $10,000. Note that previously the most expensive sold Nobel medal was considered the Medal of James Watson for the discovery of the structure of DNA, received in 1962. In 2014, he sold it for $4.7 million. Whoa, that's a whooping difference. It's a very whooping difference. Or whopping. Whooping. British intelligence update. On June 17, 2022, Ukrainian forces claimed their first successful use of Western-donated Harpoon anti-ship missiles to engage Russian maritime forces. The target of the attack was almost certainly the Russian naval tug Spasatelь Vasily Bech, which was delivering weapons and personnel to Snake Island in the northwestern Black Sea. The destruction of the Russian vessel on a resupply mission demonstrates the difficulty Russia faces when attempting to support their forces occupying Snake Island. This is the latest in a series of Russian vessels, including the cruiser Moskva, to be damaged or destroyed by Ukraine during the conflict. Ukrainian coastal defense capability has largely neutralized Russia's ability to establish sea control and project maritime force in the northwestern Black Sea. This has undermined the viability of Russia's original operational design for the invasion, which involved holding the Odessa region at risk from the sea. An updated map of the situation on the Ukrainian front from European war experts. According to them, the invaders have taken control of Toshkivka and have advanced north and northwest towards the settlements of Bila Hora and Myrna Dolina. Thus, the Russian army is approaching the southern outskirts of Lysychansk, which is now dangerously close. In turn, the AFU continues its counteroffensive towards Kherson. According to preliminary reports, there are again battles for the village of Pravdina. This is not the first transition from hand to hand in the last few days. In Kharkiv, the invaders destroyed 40% of the building of an educational institution. In Saltivka, they shelled a transport company. More than 910 children affected in Ukraine since the full-scale Russian invasion. Of these, 323 children were unalived and more than 587 were injured. Yes, it'll be a protracted crisis. We will never trust the West again. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov gave this answer to a MSNBC journalist's question about whether a prolonged conflict awaits us. Well, okay, then don't trust the West because the West doesn't trust you. And like, why would you not trust the West? The West didn't do anything to you. You are currently doing everything to everybody else. I mean, the arrogance. Finland is not likely to join NATO until September because it could not reach an agreement with Turkey, Finnish President Sauli Niinisto said. Zelensky published one more set of photos on the 118th day of the war. We're dealing with absolute evil, and we have no choice but to move on, free our entire territory, knock out the invaders from all our areas. And although the width of our front is now more than 2,500 kilometers, it seems that the strategic initiative is still ours. So here are the photos. Hi, the naughty boss. Good to see you. Oh. Okay, sorry. I went a little too far. Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen speaks online at the Verkhovna Rada of Ukraine. Ukrainian defenders showed fragments of the battle for Severodonetsk, and here is what it looks like. It could have been a school. Yeah. I mean, we never know, as in like, no, this is Azot. This is Azot plant. Sorry. Because that's the plant that is still controlled by the Ukrainian army. It's definitely Azot. It's a little too loud. A footage from the video of a Ukrainian camp for Russian POWs has surfaced. Time for sleep, leisure time, visits to religious organizations, and work in the interest of Ukrainian society. These are the conditions under which Russian prisoners of war are kept in Ukraine. And all this, of course, in compliance with all international norms. Why the Russian companies are expelled from all civilized countries for the war and genocide in Ukraine. The valiant Krail, regulator of betting and online casinos in Ukraine, under the watchful eye of Boris Baum, gives the Russia's 1xBet a license to operate in Ukraine. These traders from Kyle don't care how the money smells, whether it smells like the blood of children or mothers, as long as it goes into their personal pockets. And the fact that they sell their country to the invaders, it is not their country. All their relatives, children, wives with mistresses have not considered Ukraine as their own for a long time. That's how it is. While the AFU is chasing the Russians out of Ukraine, someone is opening a back door for them. Canada and the Netherlands will help to rebuild Ukraine after the victory over Russia, head of the office of the president, Andriy Yermak. This was stated by the prime minister of the countries, Justin Trudeau, and Mark Rutte, after a telephone conversation, reports Andriy Yermak. Address of the president of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, to the participants of the International Festival of Creativity, Cannes Lions. Your campaigns and your work will make a good legend out of our struggle for freedom. After all, we're fighting for freedom not only for ourselves, we're fighting for the freedom of the entire democratic world and those who cannot even imagine the existence of tyranny and censorships that thrives in Russia.
Greetings from Ukraine, Cannes Lions. These days I was on the front line.
One sec, sorry. I will move it so that you can see what's happening. Wait. It was always working until today. Okay, here. There we go. Sorry. Now let me do this. And I don't think I need to hear this, right?
Our brave defenders are fighting back against the Russian army. 117 days ago, everything changed for Ukraine. We are defending against a nuclear state that has unlimited access to money and has disregarded any limits on violence. I'll be honest with you, the end of this war and its circumstances depend on the world's attention. And that's why I need allies. We need people like you. You are the most creative people in the world, always on the cutting edge, whether it's the refugee flag or the fearless girl, the ice bucket challenge, or the rivers of light. Every time you find words and images to reach the depths of the human soul, you make people talk about issues everyone would otherwise overlook. I'm sure that you will do a lot more to promote Ukrainian bravery. Your campaigns and your work will make our fight for freedom legendary, because we are fighting not only for our own freedom, but for the freedom of the entire democratic world, for all of those who cannot even imagine the extent of tyranny and censorship that exists in Russia. Now you can bring peace to Europe simply by applying your professional qualities. I believe that the power of human creativity is greater than the power of nuclear state that is stuck in the past. Speak of Ukraine. Don't let the world switch to something else. The world must remember that Ukraine is fighting for freedom. This fight must end in our victory as soon as possible. Your every success will mean saving thousands of lives. Thank you. Glory to Ukraine.
Oh my gosh, I can't regulate this right. 1 second. Thanks, Annie. Now let's fix the YouTube camera while you're here. You hang out. And I'm gonna fix this, okay? Dude, be nice. Wait, Sin. Okay? Wait, baby. Okay. Sinunya, you hang out. Yeah, people love Cindy more than people like me. The Mariupol depot, after the liberation of the Russian army, the depot was completely destroyed, buildings were ruined, trams and trolley buses burned down. This is my co-anchor. Hello, co-anchor. Fine. Okay. Wait. 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 Okay. The center of the hero city, Kharkiv now. The city and the region is under incessant fire of the Russian invaders. Now the city is also under fire. A fire is visible in one of the districts of Kharkiv. Ukraine has returned 35 bodies of Ukrainian defenders. Another operation to transfer the bodies of the dead servicemen took place in Zaporizhia region, the Ministry of Reintegration said. The process of returning the bodies of the dead Ukrainian servicemen continues. It is held in accordance with the rules of the Geneva Convention. Also, Taira, the Ukrainian medic who was serving in the front lines and was captured in mid-March, was brought home a couple of days ago, and she has spoken out on her Facebook account about the conditions in which the prisoners of war are kept in the DNR, in the so-called Republic of DNR. And she says that they are being treated like slaves, and that they are most likely being tortured, and they have no communication with their families. They literally do not know what's happening in Ukraine. They're not being people don't basically they have no ability to call their families, and that we have to free them as soon as possible because the conditions that they're being kept in are basically like a concentration camp, which is awful. EU countries agreed to grant Ukraine candidate status for EU membership. 27 EU countries intend to officially grant Ukraine the status of a candidate for EU membership. We're ready to grant a similar status to Moldova, DNR, Donetsk Народная Республика, or DPR, Donetsk People's Republic. It's a so-called republic. It's actually a Ukrainian territory that's being occupied by Russia. Привіт, привіт, Україна. We have a Ukrainian in the chat. The Russians completed the construction of the crossing in the Kharkiv region and can use it, according to the media. The path was laid across the Oskol River, which is near the village of Kupiansk-Uzlovaya. The occupiers built the crossing near the destroyed railway bridge. Unfortunately, now they have the ability to overturn both manpower and equipment across the Oskol River, schemes journalists write. Cities satellite imagery data. Germany will give Ukraine 30 Jeopard self-propelled anti-aircraft guns, Iris-T air defense systems, Mars MLRS, and a number of other weapons. Meanwhile, Slovakia was going to transfer 30 T-72 tanks to Ukraine and in return receive the same number of new Leopard 22A4s from Germany, but the latter consider such an exchange to be unequal and are ready to provide only 15 Leopard 2A4S. Slovakia refuses. Zelensky spoke on the phone with Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban. We agreed to develop cooperation in the field of energy. He invited me to visit Ukraine. I'm grateful for the support of the sovereignty of our state, the status of an EU candidate, and the refuge of Ukrainians during the war. The president of Ukraine said. A few hours earlier, Volodymyr Zelensky phoned Lithuanian President Gitanas Nausėda. We coordinated steps ahead of the vote in the European Council and discussed ways to export Ukrainian grain. For Ukraine, the status of a partner, a participant in Trimoria, as well as the initiative of the First Lady, a center for internationally displaced persons in Lithuania, is important. Okay. AFU strikes enemies on Snake Island in the morning, said Operational Command South and Odessa RMA speaker Serhiy Bratchuk. Zmiyny Snake Island was subjected to a concentrated attack using a variety of forces and means of destruction, during which the occupiers suffered significant losses. The military operation is ongoing and needs information silence until its finalization. A representative of the LGBT community, Kyiv Pride, demands the dismissal of Alexei Arestovich, an advisor to the president's office, for his remarks about LGBTQA. Alexei Arestovich said that he was sympathetic to the LGBT community and considered its representatives to be people with deviation. Yes. And Cine is leaning in for more treats. Deviation from generally accepted norms. Arestovich has stated that he is against LGBT propaganda, but also does not support the persecution of LGBT people. Well, he didn't say propaganda. He said that that he is against LGBT promoting their razvratny. How does one say razvratny? They're basically like, oh, thank you so much, Steve. Thank you. And thank you, Jeff, so much. Thank you so much. I do love the paper crayons and I do love the roses. Thank you. He said that he's against, no, not agenda. Razvratny is like sexually, God, I forgot the word for the first time. So it's basically, you know what? Let me look it up. Let me look it up. Because the language is important here. No. One second. Like pervasive, like perversive, like their perverted way of life. Like as long as they do not try to impose their perverted way of life onto like the rest of the society, is basically what he said. So it wasn't LGBTQA propaganda. It was the perverted way of life. Okay. Okay, Cindy, I'm gonna let you go, but before I do that, yeah, no, deviant was different. He was saying perverted way of life, which is fucked up. But Cindy, come here. There are some Ukrainians on the stream, so let's show them what you know how to do, and then I will let you go. Hey. No, girl. Hey, Slava Ukraini. Come on. Slava Ukraini. What? Слава нації. Пиздець Російській Федерації. Good girl. Okay. Thank you for being a co-host for a second, Cindy. You were a little... I will be with you shortly. Okay. So, yes, I too am very much for the dismissal of Arestovich because I think that in general, some of his remarks are really crappy. And this was just another level of gross. There we go. This was just, a very different level of gross. 29 Chinese Air Force planes entered Taiwan's air defense zone without warning, the island's defense ministry said. As a result of the shelling, 4 people in Kharkiv are already dead. An advisor to the head of the Kharkiv Regional Council, Natalia Popova, said that 10 people were wounded and 4 people died as a result of the Russian shelling of Kharkiv. Luxembourg Prime Minister Xavier Bettel, Xavier Bettel, arrived in Kyiv to be in Ukraine with Ukraine and with Ukraine now means to be on the bright side of history, commented Volodymyr Zelensky on the politician's visit. The enemy has seized Toshkivka in Luhansk region, said Roman Vlasenko, head of the Severodonetsk District State Administration, on a TV marathon. Already 5 people have died as a result of the shelling in Kharkiv. The head of the Kharkiv Police Investigation Department, Serhiy Bolvinov, has reported. Commercial and residential buildings were shelled, not a single military facility. The shelling was preliminarily from multiple rocket launchers, Uragan. Unfortunately, 5 people are dead and 11 are wounded. Near the Donbas arena in Donetsk, a strike is registered, local media reports. According to eyewitnesses, the hits were recorded in the area of the Youth Palace and not far from the Donbas Arena Stadium. A summer cafe is on fire. EU reaches consensus on Ukraine's candidature status. The member states of the European Union have reached a common position in granting Ukraine the status of a candidate for EU membership. This was announced at a press conference following the meeting of the EU General Affairs Council, French Foreign Minister Clement Bon. We have made progress on the issues we have been discussing since this morning, namely the preparations for the meeting of the European Commission, which will be held later this month in Brussels. It will concern in particular Ukraine and the possibility of granting candidate status for Ukraine, Moldova, and Georgia. AFU are moving forward in the temporarily occupied Kherson region, Speaker of the Operational Command South, Natalia Humaniuk. Turkey announced negotiations with Russia, Ukraine, and the UN on the export of grain from Ukraine, the Turkish newspaper Milliyet reports, citing sources in the office of the president of the country. It is reported that the talks will be held next week in Istanbul. The meeting may be attended by UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres and Turkish President Erdogan. The president of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, and the prime minister of Luxembourg made statements after the meeting in Kyiv and also answered questions from the media. Luxembourg has made a significant contribution to our defense, to our common defense of European freedom. If all our partners provided as a percentage of their defense budget the same assistance to Ukraine that Luxembourg provided, the situation would be easier for our defenders. Thank you for such help in our important talks. As a result of today's shelling of Mykolaiv, a man was unalived. President of Ukraine Volodymyr Zelensky signed the law on the ratification of the Istanbul Convention. Law on the ratification of the Istanbul Convention, its main content is simple but extremely important. It is an obligation to protect women from violence and all forms of discrimination. We share European values. For us, human life and health is the highest value, the president wrote. Germany donated Panzerhaubitze 2000 to Ukraine, so those are howitzers. This is already the 6th type of 155mm artillery, reinforcing the defense of the armed forces of Ukraine. As a result of today's shelling of Chuhuiv, Kharkiv region, 6 civilians were killed, 3 were wounded. Mayor of the city, Halina Minaeva, told Suspilny TV channel. Russian Su-25 military plane crashed in Rostov region, Russia. Presumably, the cause of the fall was a pilot error. The plane could have hooked on a power line. According to preliminary data, the pilot died. The fire on the drilling platforms of Chernomor Neftegaz was recorded by satellites. The day before, it was reported that the Ukrainian armed forces hit the platform with missiles. Today, the invaders said they could not put out the fire. 15 people were killed and 16 injured in the Kharkiv region during today's shelling. In the evening, the Russian invaders fired on the Chuhuiv community. According to the preliminary data, 6 dead, 4 injured. The data is being updated. In Kharkiv, 11 wounded, 5 people died. In the Kharkiv region, an 8-year-old child died. His mother was wounded. There are 3 dead in the Zolochiv community. There are up to 7 Belarusian battalions on the border between Belarus and Ukraine, which is about 3.5 to 4,000 personnel. But you have to understand that there are also Russian troops there. I won't say their number, but there are a number of settlements where they're stationed, said Alexander Motuzyanek, spokesman for the Defense Ministry. An enemy mine detonated on a beach in the Odessa region. The blast knocked out several windows and damaged the roller shutters of a vacation home. A Russian sea mine was washed ashore near one of the recreation centers in Sychavka. Fortunately, no one was hurt. Lithuania has extended restrictions on the transportation of sanctioned goods to Kaliningrad and on road transport. The Russian media report with the reference to the press service of the government of the Kaliningrad region. Previously, the ban only applied to rail transport. From now on, cargo can be delivered to the Kaliningrad region only by air or by sea. ZSU have improved their position in the Zaporizhia direction thanks to weapons from the west. According to Alexander Starokh, the head of the Zaporizhia army, the help arrived on time and in time. The enemy no longer feels as free as before, inflicting artillery strikes on the towns of Orikhiv and Kamushavacha. Білорусь, я думаю, що відволікає Hi, Romania. Білорусь, я думаю, що відволікає нас навмисно, тому що Білорусь на нас не буде нападати. Це можуть російські війська напасти через Білорусь. The seventh package of sanctions may include a ban on the export of Russian gold. According to the publication in the next EU summit, which will be held on June 23rd, 24th in Brussels, the leaders of the organization will discuss a new package of sanctions against Russia. It is likely that it will also affect the export of Russian gold. The article notes that gold is an important asset of the Russian central bank, which is restricted to access to some of its foreign assets due to sanctions. Russia is conducting military provocations against Estonia. A Russian helicopter crossed the country's airspace for the first time, and Russian troops are simulating daily missile strikes on Estonia. It has never been as bad as now. This is real life. They are, in fact, imitating missile strikes on NATO territory and let us know that they're doing so, said Sam, a member of the Estonian Ministry of Defense. It is reported that the Russian ambassador was summoned to Tallinn for clarification. Yeah, I don't know. Hollywood was on fire in the United States. More than 100 firefighters were putting out a blaze in all ways, including from the air. The fire spread near apartments and Universal Studios. Now the fire is extinguished. Here is what that looked like. So this is the United States and this is Hollywood. Everybody comes to Hollywood. Well, this is not really. I forget that I have headphones on, and for some reason, anytime I hear a word that I know the song to, I start singing. But this is not funny. This is really bad, and I really hope that it is not going to repeat itself. Evening address by Volodymyr Zelensky. Today was a day of very active foreign policy work. Almost a marathon of telephone conversations. We are increasing the number of those who are... Вам також дуже дякую, що прийшли. Не переживайте, все буде Україна. We're increasing the number of those who are in favor of applying for Ukraine and adding confidence that the decision of the European Council on Friday will be positive. In all negotiations, I have always emphasized that the seventh package of European Union sanctions is needed as soon as possible. Russia must feel the growing pressure for the war. The Russian military continued to fire on the Sumy region today. This afternoon, the enemy fired 4 mortars and other weapons at the Krasnopilska community. A total of 42 hits in the community. Houses, outbuildings, a school, and a village council were damaged. Fortunately, none of the people were injured during the shelling. Also today, there was an attack with kamikaze drones on the community. 4 people were injured. 2 of them are in critical condition in hospital. A car was also damaged. ZSU fighters shot down an enemy Orlan 10 reconnaissance drone with the help of the American Stinger manpads. Breakout, no. She's just sitting like that. Cindy, do not eat those little threads. That is not a toy. No, they're like little threads that are hanging out of my pillows. Thank you for letting me know. And she just like munches on them. Kiselivka is hours. 50 kilometers to her son, maybe less. Okay, this is something that Arestovich is saying, and I would just like to ignore this man forever now. Slovakia will hand over 12 MiG-29 fighter jets to Ukraine. The planes will be delivered after Poland and the Czech Republic agreed to protect Slovakia's airspace until the country receives F-16 from the United States. USA says NATO's obligations to Lithuania are ironclad after Russia's threats in connection to banning transit of sanctioned goods to Kaliningrad. NATO's commitments to Lithuania are ironclad, and our commitment to Article 5, attacking one will mean attacking everyone, is inviolable, the U.S. Department said. The mother of a deceased warrior, Artem Demid, sang her son The Lost Lullaby. In the garrison church in Lviv, they said goodbye to 27-year-old soldier Artem Demid. He died on June 18th in the battle near Donetsk from mortar fire. Farewell to the last journey. Artem's mother, Ivanka Demid, sang a lullaby for her son. Rest in peace, our fallen heroes. We're no longer in seconds away from the Third World War, but the seconds are already over. Propaganda Solovyov again undertook to threaten the whole world live. Heroям слава. He also compared the countries of the West to a child who picks at the socket for the sake of wondering what will happen next. As a result, Solovyov threatened that it would shudder and strongly. Yeah, okay. See, these Russian people, they keep threatening and they keep doing nothing because they can't do anything and they just want us to think that they can. Okay, so this is the last update that I have today, and it's kind of funny, and it's sort of not really Ukraine related, but the way that they put it is really funny. Footage from Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, which will be released on September 2nd, 2022, has already appeared online. They show mostly orcs, which has already caused understandable associations among Ukrainians. Yes, we also think that orcs look a little different. The series will be set in the Middle Earth thousands of years before Bilbo Baggins' famous journey to the volcano and the formation of the Fellowship of the Ring. And I just love that Ukrainians are like, orcs? Why are there so many orcs? Yeah, for sure. Editors definitely knew what they were doing. Alrighty, so this is all the news that I have for today, and we're done before 10 p.m., which is kind of nice. Oh, thank you so much, Kath. Let me see if I have shells to give out. I don't think I do because, of course, nope, I don't, and I'm very far from having shells to give out, so we are unfortunately not good on that regard. I don't still know how these things work because sometimes I just go in here and then it shows me that there is like this little left to the shells, but it's not like I've been receiving shells, and sometimes I go in and there is like nothing. So it's a very, very strange thing. I've also been seeing a lot of different themed gifts this season, right? I think there is like a travel one, which I don't understand either because it's like no one's traveling. Or I mean, like it makes sense for travel creators, right? But doesn't make sense for everybody else. But they're kind of cool because they're like little passporty things and like whatnot. I always see them on Erebos's lives. But I don't know, like, I mean, I know that these games are definitely for TikTok to make more money and stuff like that. But it's just like interesting because the rules are so vague. It's like, yes, you keep doing these things. We're not going to explain to you what they mean or what happens if you do them or if you don't, but you keep doing them. Thank you, Gillette. Thank you, Sid. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Jilly. Oh, I'm not going to stay up. I'm probably going to take melatonin. Last day of what? Tomorrow is last day of what? Oh my gosh, Praxis says maybe we'll get lucky and a costume designer will sneak some Z's into the orc costumes as an Easter egg. Shelving, oh my god, yeah, tomorrow. Maybe, I don't know. Oh yeah, because it said June 20. It says, wait, here, I'll tell you. Yeah, 22nd. Yeah, tomorrow is the last day for shells. Oh no, how are we gonna live without shells? Oh no. Oh man, how does one survive without shells? I'm kidding. That's so funny how these like games have these like arbitrary dates of when they end and when they don't, and it's like kind of like there is a leaderboard, but what happens if you win? What happens if you take like a good place on the leader? I have so many questions. So yeah. Yes. Shell must go on, Freddie Mercury. I love that. Yeah, leaderboards are always silly because I'm just kind of like, what happens when you win? And also, I feel like unless you have like you never have a chance of like being at the top of this leaderboard unless you're like Selena Gomez or Justin Bieber or someone like that, because you have like millions and millions of followers. You go live one time and you're going to be at the top of the leaderboard. What is Among Us? Oh, like that game? That's so weird. That's so strange. I know that they still do the travel one. I actually still haven't seen a single one of the travel one. Oh yeah, Charlie D'Amelio. Yeah, that one probably is always in the top of the leaderboard. I don't know. I don't follow her. I don't understand. I don't understand how her content warranted her so many followers, because it's just dancing, and it's not good dancing either. But I'm gonna try to take. Thank you, Nick. I'm gonna try to take melatonin today and just fall asleep at about like 12:30 or something, because I need to like fix my schedule. Well, yeah, but there are a lot of people who are pretty and still don't have that many followers. It's just like there are people who are much prettier than Charlie. Like, I guess, not like, okay, much prettier is a very arbitrary thing. I mean, but as in, like, there are a lot of people who are equally as pretty. Um, but like, yeah, it's just weird. I've been on silent forever. My sister is talking without taking a breath. Thank you, Kath. Thank you, thank you. Oh, thank you so much. I do really like when, like, one of the things that I do appreciate about these stupid TikTok things is that they do make nice designs. Like, I think they do put a lot of effort into the designs of these things, and they definitely make them pretty. Like, I do really like those travel ones that I see on Ervosis's ones, because I feel like the ones that are animated is so like are so cute. Like, they did a very good job. Like, I'm not a motion picture animator. I'm a UX designer, but like, this is pretty. It's a nice job. And Anastasia is a motion picture animator, and I feel like this is a very well done job. Thank you, Bea. Oh, hi. Мой YouTube, если вы зайдете на мой профиль здесь, там есть, там моя аватарка, под ней ссылка, и написано либо follow, либо message, да, и сбоку там есть такая кнопочка, она как YouTube выглядит. Ну, play button. И если вы ее нажмете, она вас приведет прямо к YouTube. А если так не если так не получится, то вы можете найти меня на YouTube, просто введя мое имя. UX is cool. That's like the thing. I specialize more in UX than I do in UI. I think I really like solving puzzles, and I really like making things easier and more accessible. So UX is definitely my forte. Не за что, вам большое спасибо. But I do like UI as well. But yeah, so I think that I really do appreciate, like, this is the thing. Like, I think TikTok UX in a lot of ways is so horrible. Like, there are so many things that are just horrible, like they're horrendous. But their UI, in terms of like all of these little gifts and like the way that they've designed them and the effort that they've put into them, is actually really nice. I do like that. And the fact that like some people have shell likes like this, like the ones that are coming out right now. I know Sid still has them, I think. It's you, Sid, right? Who still has the shells as likes, as hearts. I think that these little details are cool. I do appreciate those. Yeah, I really like that that's like a thing, and then they just tried to make it cool. I appreciate that about them. Yes. Sin? Oh, she just sleeps. Little baby. Sin is like passed out on her little. Oh, thank you, Jilly. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. A couple of John's friends work at Meta, and they're called MetaMates. And I find it so funny. Like, they're not called employees, they're called MetaMates. Oh, it's so cringy on so many levels. I'm a MetaMate. Like, obviously they don't call themselves that, but it's just like MetaMates. Oh my god. Yeah, my field and web developing field is really popular now. So yes. Alrighty. Oh, you know what I forgot to show you? I have really cool socks. Anastasia sent me socks. Okay, so this one has a tractor, and it's yellow and blue. And this one has like a little, I don't know, but also it's blue and yellow. And then so they came in a set of mismatching socks, which I've never seen sold before. Actually, I really like the idea because it's kind of fun. Where did I put them? Where did I put them? Where did I put them? Okay, so they basically came in a set. I don't know where I put them, City. They came in a set of 5 socks. Oh, here. Oh my gosh. So, okay, they came in a set like this. So basically, there are these. Well, this one says patron, and this one says kumanets, which is like that, the rooster. Then this one says Bandera smoothie, and and these are technically called hedgehogs. They're like tank blockers, and I think it's so cute. I love these socks. And then this says, yes, Snake Island, and then this one is we're from Ukraine. So I really do. I think those are really cute socks. And those are Dodo. You can buy them on Dodo. I think they might have them on their Etsy. I love Dodo socks. Like, I wasn't joking when I said most of my socks are Dodo. I love Dodo socks. I also have these really, really cool socks. So they have strawberries on them, and it says palyanitsa, because remember the word that we were using to figure out if somebody is a Russian separatist. So palyanitsa is the bread, right? Polunitsa is strawberries, and so Russians were saying like, oh, it's strawberries. Palyanitsa is strawberries, and we were like, no, it's not. Oh, that's cool. You should get your wife the rooster socks. She would love them. Dodo has a store on Etsy, and they ship pretty fast, I think. Oh, Jason, did you get your bedding set yet? If you're here still, Jason, did your bedding set arrive yet? Because I'm still waiting for mine, and I think I ordered mine before you ordered yours. Yeah, they're Dodo socks. Look them up on Etsy, or you can go to Yewleea.com and look them up there. Also, as a gentle reminder, I put in size guides into Yewleea.com. So if you wanted to buy a hoodie or pants or something like that, and you didn't know which size to get, you can now look at the sizing in inches, and you can now know which size to get. Oh, ooh, nice. That's so cool, Jason. That's so cool. From Lamar? That's so cool. No, not inches. Well, but you can always you can translate. I can add. Have you figured out the Canadian angle yet? What do you mean by Canadian angle? Oh, nice. Nice, Jason. That's really good. That's awesome. I'm sure she'll love it. Nice. Have you figured out the Canadian angle yet? I'm not sure what Canadian angle means. Shipping to Canada is $10, and So shipping to no, so the store ships to Canada no problem because I'm not the one who ships it. Basically, like it's I partnered up with a company, or like the company that I buy the clothes from is the one who ships it. And yeah, I know, I'll fix it. I'll put centimeters in as well. But can what is it? Shipping to Canada from my website has always been fine. Shipping to Canada is $10. I figured it out a while ago. At first, it was like ridiculously expensive. I think it was like 20, but it's $10 now, or yeah, $10, and it's $15 to Europe, I believe, or $20 to Europe. I'll tell you in a second. Let me tell you what shipping is like. Oh, and I'm also considering releasing a new just sweatshirt and sweatpants combo in one color. And I won't tell you what it is, but I'm considering releasing one limited edition one. But I will tell you if it happens. Profiles and scheduling, commerce, shipping. Here. Okay, so Canada shipping $10, US shipping $10, Europe shipping $10, EFTA EFTA states shipping $15, Australia and New Zealand $15, Japan $15, Brazil flat rate $10, and worldwide, as in China, Hong Kong, Taiwan, and India, is $20. No, well, you don't know. I don't know, James. I don't know. You will have to wait and see. You will have to wait and see. Yeah, well, if you were ordering from the United States, but here is the thing. I know that in Canada, you have to pay taxes on absolutely everything that enters Canada from a different country. Talk to you later. Enjoy your balloon volleyball. That sounds like fun. I know that Canadians have to pay taxes on absolutely everything that enters Canada, no matter where it comes from. But I'm pretty sure, if you order from the store, they also ship from to European addresses. They ship from Europe. So if you, I don't know if you're gonna pay taxes on that. Also, for everybody who ordered recently on the store, it's taking a little longer than normal to ship out. I'm sorry. I will send you a coupon code for future use. For graciously waiting. Ordered car back from the States all the time. It's not bad. Nice. Alrighty, guys. I'm gonna go walkie Cine, and I will see you guys tomorrow as per usual. And I will look at the coupon. Some more goes to donations. I will still send you a coupon, James, just in case. But yeah, I will see you guys soon. Thank you for being here. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for listening to me about Ukraine. And I will see you tomorrow as usual. And you all are amazing. And I really appreciate you. You are awesome. And yeah. Oh, obrigado. Valeu. Thank you, Angela. I really appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Oh, we still have some coasters left, and all of them are shown on Patreon. So if you wanted to get a coaster, every single one that's sold is marked as sold, and every single one that isn't is marked as isn't. So if you still wanted to get coasters and you're on Patreon, please let me know. And if you're not on Patreon and you wanted to get coasters so the lady in Ukraine could make some money, please let me know on Instagram, and I'll send you photos of the ones that are left, or I can post them tonight. So I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye. Bye bye. Bye, YouTube.